Mecca Mob Watagwan. I'm here with another video, man. Lately, I've been getting a lot of comments and DMs and all types of messages asking me, bro, what was your experience dating women in Costa Rica like? If you don't know, guys, my name is Don Mecca, and I've been traveling to Costa Rica for the last 3 years. I spent at least maybe 150 days there total in those last 3 years. And in that time, I've got an opportunity to meet and date some of the most beautiful women that I've ever met, and I'm blessed to get to tell you guys about my experience. So I'm gonna get right into it. How are Costa Rican women in the context of love, in the context of a relationship? So I have to say, Costa Rican women are some of the most feminine, down to earth, affectionate, beautiful, soft women that I've ever met. Not saying we don't have it in the United States, but it's almost like it's on steroids, guys. Like, I was in heaven when I was dating these women. And is it all women? Obviously not, because we can't paint every woman with a broad brush. But I'm just speaking from the experiences that I've had and the women that I've met. I've only had a few that I wasn't really too fond of, but the majority of the women that I did meet, I had a great time dating them, and I just want to share with you guys my experience. And if you guys are looking for the same thing that I experienced, I highly recommend that you come to Costa Rica whenever you have time to travel. That's like one of my biggest non-negotiables is a woman that's affectionate and feminine. Let me just give you an example. So I was dating this girl, and this was like the first date, no lie. The date went well. We went out to dinner. Took her out to this nice restaurant, had a beautiful view. So after the date, I asked her, like, hey, like, do you want to come home with me, or do you want me to drop you off? What's up? So she said, quiero ir contigo. I want to come with you. I'm like, bet. So we went to my place, had a great time, drank some wine, listened to the music, had a great time. And the next morning, I heard like pots and pans, and I heard my washing machine going. I'm like, what the hell? What's going on? Like, this bitch robbing me? I walk out. She's looking so fine. Had these booty shorts on. She's washing dishes. Like, I had a few dishes that I might have left in the sink from the previous night. I had like a hamper full of dirty clothes that was like next to the washing machine. She took the liberty to wash them for me. I'm like, hold up a minute. I ain't never had nothing like this. I was befuddled, guys. Like, I was like, whoa. Not saying that there's not women like this in the United States, or not saying that women aren't feminine in the United States. I'm just saying from what I've experienced, and I have never experienced anything of the sort in the United States. I've had very beautiful, affectionate women, but like on that level, I've never experienced anything like that in my life. So that's something I like kind of burned in my psyche, and something I kind of like got addicted to. And then the more women that I end up dating, it's like it was consistent. I seen other women behaving the same way, and I was like, wow, this must just be a cultural thing. And I have to touch on, okay, so there's like a stigma with people in the travel community thinking that when you're dating a woman, the only reason she's doing this, the only reason she's being nice to you is because she wants something from you. She wants a green card. She wants money. She wants you to take care of her kids, whatever it is, right? So let me tell you about this chick, the same chick that I'm telling you about right now. So that happened. And then, I drop her off. Obviously, we had a great date, so she wanted to see me again. I wanted to see her again. And we're going around setting up the second date, and she invites me to a soccer game. So I'm like, okay, is this chick, because I don't know how much that type of thing costs. Like, I'm just going to assume, if you go to a sporting event in the United States, that can be, you know how that goes, that can be upward between $200 to $1,000. Like, it can be a lot of money, plus not even considering parking, food, and all that stuff. So I'm like, damn, this bitch, she trying to get out. But I'm like, it's cool, because I don't mind paying for a date. I'm like, as long as it's reasonable. So she's like, yeah, there's a soccer game. So I'm like, cool, let's go. So this was maybe like a Tuesday, and I think the game was like that upcoming Friday. So it was like Thursday, and she texted me and she said, "Here's the tickets." And I'm still thinking she's sending me like a link to pay for the tickets. Bruh, don't you know this girl bought both of our tickets? I'm like, hold up. And then under that, she said, "What size do you wear?" I said, "In what?" She said, "In t-shirts." I said, "I wear a medium. Why?" She said, "Oh, I'm going to buy you and I a jersey for the game." I said, hold up a minute. Couldn't believe it, guys. I was like, this is different. I could not believe it. I will show you proof too. I'm going to show proof. So, if you just think that all women overseas just want something from you or want to take, it's not true. That's just not true. So do not believe the propaganda. A lot of these guys, they lead with their pockets. That's why a woman wants to take what they got. Or you're not smart enough to understand when a woman's trying to do that to you. And there's nothing wrong with treating a woman. You see, I took her out to a nice dinner the first date. I don't have no problem with doing something nice for a woman, like taking her on a dinner date or whatever the case may be. But I'm not going to let her take advantage of me. That's another thing. So just to wrap that up, as far as dating women, had a great experience. Romantically, Costa Rican women, chef's kiss. They're affectionate, they're feminine, supportive. You know, they have a good sense of humor. There's just a lot of good green flags. So this is just something I want to touch on very briefly, is fashion, because I'm a fashion guy. And me personally, I need a woman that's a fashionable woman. So and there might be some guys listening to this that think like how I do. So how do Costa Rican women dress? I'm going to say that it's very hard to find a Costa Rican woman leaving the house, young and old, without being presentable, without looking, at least at the bare minimum, clean, presentable, with fresh clothes, jeans, you know what I'm saying? You know, in the United States, you can walk into a Walmart, you don't know what the hell you might find. What you gonna see fucking Monster Inc. pajama pants, SpongeBob bonnets, all types of shit. In Costa Rica, I didn't see none of that. You see straight up, well-dressed women. So when we bump it up a little bit, when you go out on dates, or when you go to the mall, or when you go, you know, when you're out on the town, they really dress up. And I'm saying, like, with dresses, skirts. They even wear a lot of the name brands we wear. Like, you know, all the name brands, I have to name them all. They wear a lot of fashionable things, and I love that. So I was like, wow. And I even felt at home because I was like, I can wear my nice stuff. I don't got to feel like I'm out of place. So yeah, just to wrap that up, but I can only speak for Costa Rica. In Costa Rica, I've noticed that women dress very well. They're very fashionable people. So let's go to the next topic. So where can I meet good Colombian, Costa Rican, Dominican women? All these type of women. And I said all those countries because I feel like this is a universal thing. You might not come to Costa Rica specifically, but I feel like all these things can kind of be universal. So specifically talking about Costa Rican women, from my experience, they're very approachable, especially if you're a foreigner, because women are just drawn to something that's different. So if you look different, and when you start talking to them, they hear your accent, they can tell you're not from there, they're already open to see what you have to say. So I would always say, do not be scared to approach Costa Rican women, especially if you know Spanish. If you don't know Spanish, you're going to have a hard time unless you're very attractive and you have, you know, Google Translate and they don't mind going back and forth. But if you do speak Spanish, don't hesitate to go approach them, especially if you're not a native Spanish speaker, because just you being a foreign person, you're already kind of in the door, to be honest with you. So where do you meet these women? Where can you approach these type of women? I would say malls, parks, clubs, sometimes. Obviously not for long-term relationships, but for like flings, one-night stands, or like just, you know, flings basically. Clubs, supermarkets is a good one. And the one that's underrated is jobs. So when a woman is at her job, like a waitress, a lot of the times, remember guys, they're there all day, they're bored, they've been waiting on people all day. If you can strike up a nice flirty conversation with a girl that's been working all day and she's bored, you probably made her whole day, bro, and she would not hesitate to give you her number. I met a girl like that, but I met a girl at a cell phone store because I needed to get a SD card for my GoPro. So I ran into a, believe it or not, a Radio Shack. I haven't seen a Radio Shack in so long. I was actually in Hako at the time. So I ran into a Radio Shack to get an SD card. Beautiful girl behind the counter. Start striking up conversation with her. Blah, 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 blah. Got her number. It was, I won't say it was easy, but it seemed like she was waiting for somebody to start talking to her like that. You know what I mean? Because she was probably bored all day. So Jobs is definitely an underrated place to meet women. So don't sleep on Jobs. Virtually, we all know the king, the GOAT, Tinder. Obviously, if you already use Tinder in the United States, it's no different. You know, Tinder's Tinder. Bumble, never used Bumble, but I'm lying. I've used it, but I never really pulled anything on there, so I can't really tell you about my experience. I'm only mentioning it because it works in Costa Rica. So if you're a Bumble user and you're used to using Bumble, you'll be right at home. Bumble works in Costa Rica. Instagram, I had a lot of success on Instagram. Do not sleep on Instagram. Instagram is a dating site in my opinion because everything about you is right there. How you look, how you dress, what you're into, all these different things. So if you follow a girl from Costa Rica, she's gonna look at your profile. She finds you attractive. She most likely probably follow you back, and right there, there's a window for you to approach her. The funniest thing is if you have any stories of you in Costa Rica and you're doing something, interesting, they might even comment on your story. I've had that happen too. So back to how to meet women virtually is Tinder, Bumble, Instagram. From my experience, now I want to talk about sexuality. How sexual are Costa Rican women? From my experience, Costa Rican women are very, spicy. I'll just say that. They're very sexual, they're very spicy. And I would say they're very spontaneous too, meaning like when a Costa Rican woman gets horny, you can pretty much get it anywhere, anytime. Like, which I like. I think that's sexy. So let me just tell you a quick story. So I was dating this chick, and this was, I think, the first time I went to Costa Rica. I was dating this chick, and I met her into the first 2 weeks that I got there. So I was there a total of 50 days. So by the time I met her, we had a long time to spend time with each other because I didn't leave for another 5 weeks or so. So she was a manager at a nail tech shop. So I was dropping her, like she would come to my house, we would do what we do, and then the next morning she would always take an Uber home and then go to work. So on this particular day, I think I asked her like, hey, do you want to, when you come over, why don't you just bring some clothes and I'll just drop you off at work? Because I had a car. So I was like, why not? And she said, okay. So, she got dressed, took a shower. I dropped her off at work. And then when I dropped her off, she invited me in. And I didn't think anything of it. She just invited me in like, hey, let me show you around, show you what I do. I'm like, cool. So shows me, brings me in, shows me around. This is where we do the nails, blah, blah. She leads me into this like upstairs, like staff room type joint. And then as she's leading me with her hand, but she's facing the opposite way. And then when she turns around, bro, she has this most seductive, promiscuous look on her face. And then she just drops down to her knees and she starts giving me the craziest Gok 3000 I ever had. And it was wild. And we did what we did up there. And I was like not expecting that at all. It was 1000% spontaneous, you know what I mean? So that's how Costa Rican women get down from my experience. And I've had other experiences kind of similar on the beach, all types of places. So if you're into that type of stuff, yeah, that's what you're gonna get. So we talked about a lot of positives. I gotta go to some negatives that I've noticed with Costa Rican women. And one of them is being flaky. And I experienced a lot of that in Tamarindo. So there's a notion that only women in the United States are flaky. And that's the funniest piece of shit I ever heard. A lot of women in Costa Rica can also be flaky. You set up a date, the day of the date comes, they can't make it, they make an excuse. Oh, my dog died, my family got into a car crash, all this bullshit. So that happened to me at least maybe like 3 times. So that's why I said it's not like a big thing, because I was there, like I said, I've been to Costa Rica many times, and I think I only got flaked on like maybe 3 or 4 times that whole time. So that's not that bad. Another thing that I've noticed is punctuation. So, and I know me being black, because we got that stereotype too, but I try my best to be a very punctual person. So if I set up a date for 8 p.m. and you agree to it, I've noticed that a lot of Costa Rican women, if I say 8, they're not ready until like 8:45, 9, you know, especially if it's like a dinner date or something like that. And that's kind of like annoying. I've noticed that. It's not like the biggest deal, but that's just something that you guys should be aware of. The next one I would say is clinginess. Like me, I do like a clingy woman because that just shows that she's showing you interest. She likes you. She wants to be around you. She enjoys your company. I'm not the one to complain about that. But there's levels to clinginess. You know what I'm saying? So I had 2 incidences where I'm talking clingy to where the girl's like, where you at? What you doing? Who you with? Like they want to know everything about your day, every movement you make, and it just becomes to get a little bit overbearing and stifling. So I'm not even a block type nigga. Like I don't really block chicks. I don't care how much we went through. I just move on. But I never really blocked chicks. I had to block these chicks, 2 of them. So that's just something I noticed that. So be careful with that. Sometimes Costa Rican women can be very clingy and very possessive. But like I said, I don't really have an issue with that. It's just keep it at a very safe level, a healthy level, I would say. Keep it at a healthy level. Another one is single moms. Being a single mom is not an issue. The problem what I have with it is I've seen that there's a lot of single mothers in Costa Rica. And what can happen to some guys is if a woman likes you and she just happens to have a kid, that's one thing. But if she's only acting to like you so you can provide for her kid, that's another thing. And that's happening in Costa Rica, you know what I'm saying? It didn't happen to me, but I've heard stories of it happening to other partners of mine, other travel friends of mine, and not just only in Costa Rica, and other countries like the DR and in Thailand, Colombia, all these different countries. It's happening all over the place. So that's just something you have to be careful of, is just making sure if you're into single moms or if you're dating a single mom, that you're not getting taken advantage of. Like that you know that it's either just y'all dating and the kid's not involved, or if the kid is involved, she actually does like you and she just happens to have a kid. You know what I'm saying? So just be careful with that, guys. Please be careful with that. The last one is not like a problem with the girl. It's just a problem with the dynamic of the relationship, is language barrier. So if you don't speak any Spanish, or if you're not all the way fluent, which I wasn't always fluent when I was in Costa Rica, it can cause a lot of like frustration, awkwardness, awkward silences. And I think that just puts a strain on your relationship, and it kind of just gets annoying that you can't express what you want to say to the person, and the person's trying to tell you what they want to tell you. You can't understand them. It can cause a lot of strain. So I always suggest, guys, if you want to come to a foreign country, especially a Spanish speaking country, you don't have to be fluent, but learn as much Spanish as you possibly can. Just as much as you possibly can. If you become fluent, beautiful. But just learn as much as you possibly can to avoid that, because I had to go through that, and I'm telling you, it's not fun. It's one of the most frustrating experiences I ever had. It's like being with a chick out to dinner and the conversation gets stale because you just don't know what to say. Or when she's talking to you, you don't know what the hell she's saying. So that's just something I have to say about that. So in conclusion, is it worth dating a Costa Rican woman? I say 100% absolutely yes. I think Costa Rican women are beautiful. They're smart. They're intelligent. They're very considerate, supportive. They're very, affectionate, which I love. And that's pretty much all a man can ask for. Most of them know how to cook. They love to clean. There's just that feminine energy is there, whether they have a job or not. And that's basically what men are traveling across the pond to find in the first place. So if you're looking for that, Costa Rica got you, man. And once again, man, I just want to thank you guys for watching the video. I cannot do these videos without you. I hope that we can grow this year and the year to come to, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 5,000, 10,000 subscribers. I want to start, once we get bigger, bringing you guys out with me and throwing events and different things like that. But I just wanted to thank you guys for watching the video, and until next time, I'm out.